It's May Value Days at Woolworth with savings for everyone.
Odds we got at KB Toy Stores. It's the place to shop, you'll see.
Take another look, take another look, take another look at Zayre.
Look at us now.
All over the country, there's one near you.
Blockbuster Video. Wow, what a difference.
You remember Saturday afternoon going to a department store with your parents or your grandparents and hitting that glossy floor that made your sneakers squeak? Can any of you remember the sacred ritual of sliding into one of those Woolworth lunch counter seats? Remember the first bite of that burger? That crispy, buttery bun? Didn't it taste like a reward after a whole afternoon of shopping for after-school clothes? I never thought that I would miss the days of being drugged right past the toy section straight to jeans. Fast forward to today, and all we have is the ding of a notification of delivery, and not that bell that used to be on those shop doors as you entered. Yo, we traded flipping through dusty bins of vinyl at Tower Records or Sam Goody, all for algorithm curated playlists now. And I know you definitely remember those Friday nights at Blockbuster debating over whether it's gonna be Back to the Future you get or Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And what do we do now? Doom scroll through streaming services just to try to catch that next binge watch, which by the way, should be Devil May Cry if you're into animation. Yo, even the grocery store don't feel the same. But now so many iconic stores of the past only live in Polaroids and school field trip memories. So let's take a look at a few that seem to be impossible to remove from our memory. And we secretly wish they would reopen. Man, I tell you what I wouldn't give just to wander those aisles for a minute, just breathe in and smile. So here are a few iconic stores from our childhood that we've lost, but we certainly have not forgotten.
Macho Man Randy Savage, the cream of the crop.
He scores! The Bulls lead 80.
Girl, your hair's so nappy, Wilson couldn't pick it.
This is Max Headroom.
Are you kidding?
RadioShack.
The new Sprint store at RadioShack. You've got questions, we've got answers.
Just hearing the name takes me back. Okay, so it's 1921 in Boston. Two brothers crack open a little storefront to fuel a niche passion, ham radio operators. Back then, it was all about coils, wires, and the crackle of possibility. Now fast forward a few decades, and that humble shop became the heartbeat of American electronics. Need a battery? A transistor? A gadget your dad swore they'd have? You'd hop in the car and boom, there it was, glowing in the strip mall like a neon oasis. At its peak, 7,300 stores dotted the map, practically woven into every neighborhood. 3 miles from your couch, guaranteed. Those aisles bursting with resistors, RC cars, and dreams of building something from scratch. The smell of fresh circuit boards, the thrill of flipping through catalogs thicker than phone books. This was a playground for tinkerers, a haven for curious kids saving allowance money for walkie-talkies. But by 2015, the crack showed. Bankruptcy, again in 2017. Today, a ghost of its glory, a handful of stores clinging on, a website whispering, we're still here. But let's be real. The RadioShack we loved, the one that felt like the future sitting on a shelf, that's nostalgia now. A relic of a time when tech wasn't just something you bought, it was something you touched, took apart, and maybe even brought home in a little bag that had RS on it. It's not entirely gone, but walk into one of those last outposts and you can almost hear the echoes. The hum of old tube TVs, the click of a soldering iron, and the question we'll forever miss, can I help you find something?
We're so much more than just a store. RadioShack.
Blockbuster.
Blockbuster on 3!
Just hearing the name makes me grin. Let's go back to 1985. Neon lights buzz, VHS tapes line endless aisles, and the smell of buttery popcorn lingers in the air. This was Blockbuster, the Friday night ritual. Need a movie? You'd grab your family, your friends, or that crush you were too shy to text because, well, texting didn't exist yet, but that's neither here nor there. And wandering those glowing blue and yellow aisles for what felt like hours. The thrill of snagging the last copy of Back to the Future? Pure gold. The agony of forgetting to rewind your rental? Let's just say that Be Kind, Please Rewind still haunts my dreams. By its peak, Blockbuster was king. Over 9,000 stores worldwide, a cultural heartbeat. But then the 2000s rolled in. Streaming, Redbox, and the rise of Netflix's little red envelopes. By 2013, the lights dimmed for good. Stores shuttered one by one, like scenes from a bittersweet movie montage. But now peep this. There's still one standing. One. Tucked in Bend, Oregon.
Welcome to Blockbuster.
You're inside the last Blockbuster in the world.
This is it. This is our final stand.
Sandy Harding proudly remains at the helm of the last Blockbuster, located in Bend, Oregon.
It's a time capsule. The carpet's still that iconic blue, the shelves stocked with DVDs, and yes, a few dusty VHS tapes for all my retro warriors. But locals kept it alive, a stubborn, loving middle finger to the everything instant era. Walking in feels like hugging an old friend you didn't realize you missed so much. So here's the Blockbuster, a relic of Friday nights spent wandering, of arguing over comedies versus horrors, of a time when movies weren't just clicks but experiences. It was more than just a store. It's a sticky popcorn-scented piece of our collective heart. And in Bend, against all odds, that heart still beats.
All over the country, there's one near you.
Blockbuster Video. Wow, what a difference.
Borders.
Borders. We get what moves you.
Remember wandering through those towering shelves, the scent of fresh paper lingering in the air, and that quiet thrill of discovering a story you'd carry home like treasure? Born in '71 in a humble Michigan college town, it grew into a sanctuary for book lovers, a place where rainy afternoons melted away between dog-eared pages and coffee-stained classics. By the 2000s, it felt unstoppable. 511 stores buzzing with midnight release parties, poetry readings, and the soft crackle of vinyl in the music aisle. But then, the world flickered to pixels. E-readers slid into pockets, and suddenly, the weight of a hardcover felt, well, heavy. The company that once fueled our imagination couldn't outrun the tide. In 2011, the lights dimmed for good, shelves empty. We gained endless libraries at our fingertips, yet lost the magic of a place where strangers bonded over book series, and cashiers knew your taste better than any algorithms. Borders was a bookmark in our lives, and closing it felt like turning the final page of a book you never wanted to end.
Bedford Falls. Bedford Falls.
Circuit City.
Welcome to Circuit City, where service is state of the art.
Remember those glowing signs lighting up the horizon where service was state of the art? Walking through those automatic doors felt like stepping into a tech wonderland. At its peak, 567 stores dotted the map, each one a temple of innovation. You'd wander past walls of boomboxes, car stereos that made your heart race, and computers that felt like portals to the future. Then, in 2008, it hit like a gut punch. Well, for me anyway. After 59 years, yes, 59 years, the shelves emptied. The bankruptcy signs went up. Those red lights dimmed one by one. It wasn't just a chain closing, it was the end of an era, a place where tech wasn't just bought, but experienced. Funny though, even now, catching a whiff of that new gadget smell or spotting an old Circuit City ad online, suddenly you're back there, younger, hopeful, marveling at how something as simple as a store could hold so many dreams. Gone, sure, yet still online, but never really forgotten. Just tucked away in our memory, right beside mixtapes and Garfield telephones. CompUSA.
Welcome to the all-new CompUSA, now part of the Systemax family of companies, and we are committed to making CompUSA better than ever.
Now, remember the days when walking into that store felt like going into the future? Let's rewind. Back in 1984, at Soft Warehouse in Addison, Texas, it was a haven for early tech enthusiasts. Oh, but in 1991, it changed everything. They rebranded as CompUSA, went public, and suddenly those blue and white stores became cathedrals of the digital age. You'd wander past towers of shrink-wrap software, geek out over the latest CPUs, and maybe even sneak a demo of the latest PC game on a display computer. It wasn't just shopping, it was an event. But then, the 2000s hit. Circuit City and Best Buy grew, online shopping boomed, and by 2007, the lights dim on 126 stores. Poof, gone, just like that. An era of weekend pilgrimages to CompUSA faded into memory. Now, only a ghostly website lingers. A digital tombstone for a place that once made tech feel alive. CompUSA isn't just a name, it's a time machine.
CompUSA, unmatched.
Hot We Got at KB Toy Stores, it's the place to shop. You'll see all the latest toys to choose from. Hot We Got at KB.
Oh man, KB Toys. Just hearing that name floods me with memories. Aisles crammed with action figures, stuffed animals spilling off shelves, and the electric buzz of kids debating which toy to beg their parents for. That magic started way back in 1922 in a little town called Pittsfield, Massachusetts. What began as a humble candy wholesaler slowly blossomed into a kingdom of childhood wonder. And by 1999, they were everywhere. Over 1,300 stores, and they were in every single state. You couldn't escape that iconic red and yellow sign, glowing like a beacon in malls across America. But here's where the story turned sour. Remember how we sprint to those stores? Allowance money crumpled in our fists? Well, by 2009, those same aisles, they fell silent. KB Toys faced bankruptcy not once, but twice. Then Toys R Us swooped in to claim the name that same year. It's wild, right? One day you're racing to grab the last Furby, and then the next, gone. But man, those memories. I bet they're still tucked in our hearts like old trading cards. For generations, it was a passport to imagination. And even though its doors closed, that spark it lit, it's still flickering. Kenny's Shoes.
We're the great American shoe store for great Americans like you. We're the great American shoe store.
Let's stroll back in time for a moment. Picture a small town in Waverly, New York, 1894. A man named G.R. Kenny had a dream, a simple shoe store handcrafted for hardworking folks. Fast forward a few decades, and that humble shop became a titan, over 300 stores by 1929. Kenny wasn't just a store, it was a ritual. Generations slipped on their first school shoes there, scuffed their prom heels, and bought boots for that big job. By 1963, Woolworth swept it up. Then came the 90s, Foot Locker's era, all neon and mall buzz. And just like that, 500 Kenny stores vanished by 1998. Poof, gone. Yet, close your eyes. Can you still see it? The dusty sunbeams through the windows, the clerk who knew your size by heart, the way your mom tapped the toe box to check for room to grow. We've all been through that, right? Kenny's legacy isn't in balance sheets or empty storefronts. It's in the memories of laces tied, milestones walked, and sidewalks worn by a million little footsteps. Somewhere out there, a pair of old Kenny loafers still sits in an attic, waiting to tell their story. Let me take you back to 1919 in Boston, where two brothers, Max and Morris Feldberg, stitched together a humble dream. Imagine a bustling city still catching its breath after World War I, and these siblings huddled in a small shop supplying undergarments to department stores. Simple beginnings, right? However, by the 1930s, they'd already sensed the winds of change. Women's fashion was blooming, and the Feldbergs pivoted, transforming their business into women's specialty stores. Now fast forward to the post-war boom of the 40s and 50s. Zayre stores, now a household name across New England, became a sanctuary for moms hunting for school clothes, teens chasing trends, and families stretching every dollar. Those fluorescent lit aisles humming with laughter and the thrill of a good deal. Then came the 70s. When Zayre's bid to buy Marshalls fell through, did they retreat? Nope. They invented TJ Maxx in 1977, a scrappy underdog that would one day outshine its inspiration. Talk about grit. But life's funny, isn't it? By the 80s, Zayre itself had faded, swallowed by Ames department stores. Yet here's the kicker. Their brainchild, TJ Maxx, blossomed into a retail titan. Marshalls, who they ended up acquiring, Home Goods, and TJ Maxx, all whispering the Feldbergs' legacy. Isn't it wild how history hides in the aisles of the stores we love?
For that pesky prankster, the Penguin?
Remember the Christmas spirit run.
Right, Batman.
Hecht.
Always something there to excite me.
Only at Hecht.
If you grew up around the Mid-Atlantic or the South, chances are you wandered those polished floors. For 150 years, it was where generations found first day of school outfits, wedding registries, and the scent of perfume that lingered like a hug. Also, if yours was like mine, far in the back was Ticketmaster, ready to serve you up tickets to your favorite event or concert. Then came 2005. Macy's, that titan of a department store, folded Hecht into its legacy, repainting signs and shelving a name that had weathered wars, recessions, and 1,000 Saturday shopping crowds. Overnight, those familiar doors bore a new logo. Progress? Maybe. But oh, the bittersweetness of it. Like losing a hometown landmark where every escalator hummed with memories. Funny though, even now when you walk past a Macy's, don't you sometimes catch an echo of Hecht? Because some stories don't fade. They just change coats. And isn't that where nostalgia lives? In the quiet corners where the past almost lets go. Bontton.
Your fashion store. The Bontton.
Just saying the name brings back a flood of memories. This starts in 1898 in York, Pennsylvania. A humble little shop called Grumbacher & Son opens its doors, selling hats and dry goods. Think sturdy fabrics, threads, and the kind of craftsmanship that built communities stitch by stitch. Then came the 20th century. World War I changed everything, and Bontton, renamed by then, grew, stretching beyond Pennsylvania like a quilt unfurling across the Midwest and Northeast. By the 1990s, oh, it was the place. Those grand department stores with their glossy floors and holiday displays, it felt eternal, like a hometown monument. However, the 2000s brought storms. CEOs came and went, each promising revival, but the magic faded. Shelves grew sparse, foot traffic thinned, and in 2018, they filed for bankruptcy. Lights dimmed, doors locked, a century-old legacy once buzzing with life, silenced into liquidation sales and goodbye signs. Yet Bontton's ghost lingers. A website keeps the flame flickering, a digital scrapbook of what once was. It's wild how a place that once held so much life now exists in pixels, whispering to us of parades of perfume counters, Christmas catalogs, and that ache of losing something you didn't know you'd miss until it was gone. As I said before, an online store cannot replace the magic of being in the brick and mortar one. Photomat. Remember those little golden kiosks glowing in mall parking lots? Okay, let me take you back real quick. Remember the click of a disposable camera? The thrill of snapping photos you couldn't instantly delete? And that tiny yellow envelope holding memories you drop off like a secret treasure? Founded in 1968 by Preston Fleet, Photomat wasn't just a business, it was a ritual. Those quirky gold roof huts sprouted like dandelions across America, becoming beacons for impatient teens, proud parents, and love-struck couples waiting to see if that shot turned out. You'd hand over your film, daydream for 24 hours, then race back to flip through glossy prints, actual photos you could hold. But then, the 90s rolled in with 1-hour photo labs, and suddenly, waiting a day felt like an eternity. One by one, those golden huts dimmed, their charm outshined by instant gratification. By the millennium, most were just ghosts of a slower, sweeter time, when anticipation was part of the magic. Funny how today we've got 1,000 photos in our pockets, yet we rarely print a single one. I gotta say, I miss the rustle of the envelope, the smell of fresh ink, the joy of a perfectly timed snapshot. Makes you wonder, did we lose something beautiful when we stopped waiting? Service merchandise.
Service merchandise, America's leading jeweler.
Now, do you remember the magic of flipping through those glossy catalogs as a kid, circling birthday wishes or holiday dreams with a shaky but hopeful hand? What started as a humble 5 and dime in Pulaski, Tennessee back in 1934, a family dream by the Zimmermans, blossomed into something so much bigger. By its heyday, those iconic stores dotted the map, over 400 strong, each one a treasure chest of sparkling jewelry, gadgets, and those just right household items you didn't know you needed until you wandered the aisles. Oh, and the thrill of filling out that order slip, handing it to the clerk, and waiting breathlessly as your prize rolled down the conveyor belt. It wasn't just shopping, it was an event. But like so many relics of the 80s and 90s, time marched on. By 2002, the lights dimmed for good after a heartbreaking bankruptcy. However, like a few others on this list, it's back online now. A digital ghost of its former self, though. Bittersweet, but a reminder that even legends can fade, but never really disappear.
Put us to the test at A&P. In our meats, groceries, our fruits, and vegetables, we're gonna measure up.
Or I'll give you your money back.
Now, do y'all remember A&P? You do? I bet you don't remember what it stands for. Well, if you do, great. If you don't, it's the Great Atlantic and Pacific Tea Company. Just saying the name feels like stepping into a sepia-toned memory, doesn't it? It all began humbly in 1859 as a mail-order tea business, the kind of venture where folks might have flipped through a catalog dreaming of distant flavors. But oh, how it blossomed. By the 1930s, A&P was a heartbeat of American life. With over 15,000 locations across the country, their green and gold signs glowed like beacons. Can you imagine the clatter of wooden carts, the scent of fresh ground coffee lingering in the air, or the friendly banter between neighbors at the butcher's counter? And here's a nugget of warmth. In those same bustling 30s, A&P gifted us Women's Day magazine. Not just ads, but a treasure trove of recipes. Think Depression-era moms flipping pages finding joy in a cake made with A&P vanilla or a stew simmered with their spices. It wasn't just groceries, it was community, creativity, and a lifeline stitched into the fabric of everyday life. But time, as it tends to do, moved on. The aisles grew quieter, and by 2010, the word bankruptcy began shadowing those once vibrant stores. By 2016, the last A&P flickered out, leaving empty spaces where generations had gathered. Yet, close your eyes. Can you still hear the creak of those old floorboards? See the handwritten sale signs? Taste the nostalgia in a recipe clip from Woman's Day? That's the legacy. Not just a store, but 1,000 little moments preserved like jam in a jar. Montgomery Ward. Remember when flipping through those thick catalogs felt like holding a world of possibilities in your hands? It all began back in 1872, when a visionary named Aaron Montgomery Ward dared to dream big. Now picture this, farmers in rural towns near Chicago, miles from bustling stores, receiving hope in envelopes, a mail order catalog packed with everything from tools to toys. For generations, that catalog wasn't just paper. It was a lifeline, a trusted companion for families carving out lives on the prairie. Then came 1926, the year Montgomery Ward stepped off the page and into Main Street. Those first retail stores were community landmarks, and by 1931, over 500 stores dotted the map, a testament to America's growing love affair with the Ward. In 1985, the catalog, the very heartbeat of the company, printed its final edition. The rustle of those beloved pages fell silent, a bittersweet goodbye to an era. Then the 90s hit, and the storm clouds rolled in. New discount giants loomed, and by 1997, the unthinkable happened. Again, bankruptcy. Those once bustling stores where holiday windows once dazzled and families shopped for first day of school outfits begin to shutter. The last one closed its doors in 2001, leaving empty spaces where memories once lived. Now, here's a little twist. In 2004, it relaunched online. Those same catalogs that once traveled by horse-drawn wagon now live just a click away. Though going to Montgomery Ward online is nothing like the experience we had of going into the actual store back in the day, it still feels good to know we can experience a little nostalgia with just a click of a mouse.
Save $80 on the pair, where energy and money-saving appliances come to Montgomery Ward.
This week during Woolworth Dollar Days, look for big price breaks all over the store. You can save 25% on these cuddly blanket sleepers to keep your little ones snug and warm.
Just hearing the name floods my mind with memories of creaky wooden floors, my mother and I having mom-son time at the lunch counter, and those red and gold storefronts that felt like portals to a simpler time. It all began in 1879 when a young dreamer named Frank Winfield Woolworth flung open the doors of his first Five and Dime in Utica, New York. Fun fact, his second store in Lancaster or Lancaster, depending on where you're from, Pennsylvania, outlasted the first. Back then, everything cost a nickel or a dime. Can you imagine? A child's pocket change now could buy a toy, a ribbon, or a whole afternoon of wonder back then. By the roaring 20s, over 2,250 Woolworths stores dotted the map. Those aisles weren't just shelves, they were community hubs. Teens giggled over milkshakes at the counter, moms hunted for baking pans, and grandparents lingered over the perfume displays. And let's talk about that lunch counter. It wasn't just about grilled cheese and cherry pie. It became a stage for history during the Civil Rights era, a reminder that even dime stores held echoes of courage. So here's to the Five and Dime that taught us big dreams could start with pocket change. And there we have it, a few iconic stores that we no longer have around, though some are still around in online form. I guess that's something, but y'all know that's not the same thing, not by far. But I miss a lot. I miss Woolworth. I miss Zayre. I can remember going to Zayre as a kid. I definitely miss KB Toys. Hecht, I used to go. I don't know if Hecht was really a national thing, but if you lived on the East Coast, especially in the Mid-Atlantic or Northern region, you definitely remember Hecht. All these stores, I remember being in college shopping at Service Merchandise with my refund money. Man, those were the days. Maybe we'll see a comeback of some of these at some point, or maybe they'll just have to live in our memory. Either way, I'm glad that you took this journey with me today. Y'all know I love you by now, right? I absolutely do if you don't. To all the new family that has joined on the train, we welcome you. We on the road to 10,000, baby. We chugging, we getting there, we almost there. But y'all know the deal, right? Until the next time, love you, love somebody else, and I'll see y'all soon.